So how many? Okay. So if you remember in the last class, in the offline class, we discussed about the type of erosion problem. We discussed about the splash erosion, right? So splash erosion generally happens when the rainfalls drops on the bare soil. So in that case, what happened? The soil will be eroded because there is nothing to protect the soil. So if the rainfall drop on the bare soil, that soil is being eroded. That kind of a erosion is called as the splash erosion. So all these photos are taken from uh, Professor Arup Kumar Sarma, who is my supervisor in IT Guwahati. So all these photos are being taken from his presentation. And then you remember I have also said that for erosion to take place, we need two things. One is a little disturbance and time. So if there is a little disturbance because of the rainfall which drops on the bare soil, in that case, with time you'll see this kind of a cracks is happening. Okay, so this kind of a small crack is happening, and this kind of erosion is called as sheet and interrills erosion. If you see here, initially this is the here there are also small cracks, but because of the present of vegetation, this vegetation starts to grow in this area, and this area now is being protected. However, in this area where there is no vegetation, this crack starts to expand itself. Eventually, it might even lead to this kind of an erosion. This kind of erosion are called as gully erosion. From sheets and interreal erosion, the cracks might expand with time, and it may even lead to this kind of erosion called gully erosion. We also have discussed about the various kind of erosions that generally occurs in the river bank, such as the erosion that occurs due to the attack of the direct and secondary current in the river bank, right? Apart from that, there is also an erosion due to the wave action. We have discussed this thing in the last class, during the offline class. Then there is erosion because of the sudden drawdown. Remember, if the soil is made of clay and all, that soil will be fully saturated. So once the flood water recess, that soil which is being fully saturated will eventually collapse. And then there is also failure due to seepage. This thing we have discussed in the last class. So in today's class, what we are going to discuss how to control, what are the erosion control for this various kind of a problem. And particularly we are going to discuss about green infrastructure. We're not going to discuss about retaining wall and all in detail today. In today's class, we are going to discuss about green infrastructure. What are some of the green infrastructure solution that we can provide for various kind of a erosion problem? So the aim of today's class is to explain the different methods that can be used for control erosion. But for practical purpose, you should note that this whatever methods that are we going to discuss today, these different methods may work differently depending upon the local conditions, depending upon the available of materials. Okay, sometimes we may even have to use a combination of these methods that are we going to discuss today to solve the various erosion problem. For us to decide what kind of what kind of solution to provide, we need to know the type of failure. That is very important. We need to know the types of bank material, height of banks. All these factors are very important in deciding what type of a protective measures and how to implement this measure. For example, again, this is again the slides taken from one of my professor in IT Guwahati. So, for example, he carried out one project. So, in this particular area, they have proposed a combination of various measures to prevent erosion in this place. For example, here in some area, they have suggested that retaining wall must be provided. In some area, they have suggested that some kind of a perforated blocks must be provided. In some area, some creepers, some step drains in order to reduce the velocity, some kind of a grass plantation. So it may happen in some area You have to use a combination of various methods in order to prevent the erosion problem. So let us see some of these methods. Okay. So, as I've said, today we are going to discuss about the green measures. So, these measures, these green methods are sometimes called as bioengineering methods. So, bioengineering methods are nothing but these methods which use a combination of a structural practice along with vegetation to provide erosion protection for the hill slope, for the bank, for the lakes and all. So this kind of methods, which use a combination of a structural practice along with vegetation, are called as bioengineering methods. Sometimes you may also must heard of a term called uh, biostabilization or soil bioengineering. So all these terms are just a synonyms of bioengineering methods. Okay, so let us see some of these methods. So whatever we are going to discuss today, these are some of the most commonly used method, but you should know that these are not the only methods. There are various methods available, but for today's class, we are going to discuss some of the methods. One such method, the first method that we are going to discuss is using a geomat. Okay, a geomat or sometime geomat, which is a form of a coordinate. Moment, can you mute yourself? Let me mute you. So one kind of a solution is that we need to use this kind of a mat called as a geomat. Like for example, we use a coordinate. So what happened? Like I have said, you remember that in case the soil is bare, so what happened? The raindrops may fall and cause a splash erosion. So if we provide this kind of a geomat in those area where there is no vegetation, so this kind of a mat or this kind of a net will prevent the raindrop from striking the surface directly, right? It will prevent the splash erosion if we provide this kind of a mat in those area. For example, you see here we generally lay like this. Okay, this is a different type of a thing. This is a geosynthetic mat, but we also lay this kind of a mat in that way so as to prevent the direct impact of a raindrop. But you should note that this kind of a mat eventually it will deteriorate. So what we have to do inside of this mat here, what we have to do, we have to plant some kind of a locally available vegetation. It may be grass or some kind of a locally available vegetation. We generally have a long root system. So we plant this kind of a, that vegetation in this mat along with this mat. So this mat, what it does, it provides two benefits. First of all, it prevents the raindrop from directly striking the surface. Second, it also provides some support to that vegetation. As I've said, with time this will deteriorate, but by the time it deteriorates, the vegetations will start growing and the vegetation will cover the entire ground and the vegetation will act as a permanent measures in order to prevent the erosion process. So this is one of the method. I will be showing you the practical application of this. So this is one of the methods that we can use in order to prevent the erosion. Sometimes we also use a geosynthetic mat. This is called as geomat and this is called as a geosynthetic mat. You must have seen this in some place they have laid on this kind of a mat to prevent erosion. The difference between these two mats is that here we use it for a short duration because this will deteriorate easily. However, this will not deteriorate easily. So we generally use this kind of a geosynthetic mat when we need a long time support. When these vegetations that we plant here, it takes a longer duration to grow. So in that case, we generally go for a geosynthetic mat rather than this coordinate or geomat. So this is one of the project that is being carried out by IT Guwahati. So under my supervisor, Professor Arup Kumar Sarma, so they do this kind of a river controlling. Here they use a plastic net. I'll show you here. So here you see here they place this kind of a plastic net here, and in between this plastic net they plant this locally available vegetation. So with time, you see this net will start to deteriorate. By the time it deteriorates, you see here initially there is this area, whole area is being covered with this plastic net. But by with time, it start deteriorating. You see only a small portion of the net is available. However, by the time it deteriorates, this vegetation is already fully grown. So this kind of a net they use here. So you see here they place this kind of a net here, and then they place vegetation here. So by the time this net deteriorates, the entire area is covered with this vegetation, and this vegetation will prevent the erosion. It can also prevent the direct currents that being strike on it. It can act as a cushioning effects. I have told you in the last class. Okay, so when the current strike against vegetation, it will act as a cushioning effects and will prevent the erosion of this bank. So this is one of the way whereby we can prevent the erosion by using this by using this geomat or geosynthetic mat. So now the next sometime, okay, apart from this we also use some kind of a concrete, especially when the embankment failure is due to a rain cut. So in that case, what we use this articulated concrete block. Here you see that this is a concrete block which are being articulated. They have some kind of a hole inside this block. I'm not going to the design of this block as of now. If we have time, then maybe we'll go into the design part. But as of now, you just know that we can also use this kind of a measures to prevent the bank erosion. What we do here, first of all, we lay this geosynthetic mat here. Once we lay this mat, then we place this block here. So this block, apart from giving protective measures against erosion, they also provide a aesthetic beauty. You see here it looks so beautiful, right? Instead of planting some vegetations and all, if you put this kind of a block, it gives a beautiful looks to the place. So these blocks also provide an aesthetic beauty apart from acting as a protective measures against the erosion problem. Now the next kind of a measure that we can take is called as palisade. So what is this palisade here? Actually, you see here, these are kind of a barriers that we generally provide at the curved portion of the bank. You see here, this is a river, a curved portion of the river. We generally provide this kind of a measures. So these barriers are either made of bamboo or some kind of a strips which are provided in the curved portion of the bank. So what does this measures do? So when the water flow, okay, with huge discharge, so instead of directly striking the bank, it will strike this uh, palisades. So these palisades, what it do now, it will reduce the velocity, right? Because of the obstruction, so the velocity will reduce. The water cannot directly hit the first thing. The water that cannot directly hit the bank. Second thing, because the water is being obstructed, the velocity will get reduced. So once the velocity get reduced, in case that water carries sediments along with it, so that sediment will get deposited here, right? So these sediments in turn will also provide protections against the bank. So this thing you generally see, especially in case of a small river, these kind of structures are being constructed, and these kind of structures are called as palisade structure. We construct generally at the curved portion of the bank in order to prevent the water from directly striking the bank or to reduce the velocity so that the sediments will get deposited here and it will prevent the bank from being eroded. So up to this point, any doubt? Any questions up to this point? So we have discussed about three measures up to now, four measures. So any doubt up to this point? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Okay then. So now let's move to the next measure. Okay, fine. The next thing is the porcupine structures. These structures you will often see even near our college in the Bank of Brahmaputra. You will see this kind of a structure here. This kind of structure, right? You will see this if you see on the bank of Brahmaputra River, we provide this kind of structures called as porcupine structures. So these structures are nothing but the tripod kind of a thing. There are six members here. These structures are either made of a concrete or a bamboo and all. So they looks like a tripod. So what is the advantage of this structure? So these structures are made of this kind of a tripod and are being held together in this way. Okay. So the advantage of this structure is that suppose a water comes and strike this structure. So these structures, all the sides of these structures are equal inside. Okay. All these members are equal inside. And at this thing, uh, at the end we extend this thing at the end we extend the end so that we'll have a grip. So all the structures, all these members are equal inside, and at the end of the structure we extend it so that to provide some grip. So the advantage of this structure is that when the water strike it, so when the water overturn it again, it will come back into an original position because all the members are equally in size. They are very balanced. Even if the structure overturn it, it will immediately come back to a balanced position. So thus the chance of the river uh, of taking away the structure is very less. Even though it can overturn it, however, it cannot carry it to a far away places because this structures is made in such a way that is very balanced in nature. Even if it overturn, again it will come back to a balanced position. So this is the advantage of these structures, and these kind of structures are called as porcupines. So when the water hits these structures, the velocity will get reduced. The water cannot directly strike the bank because we have provided this kind of a structure. And again, if the water carries some sediments along with it, that sediment will get deposited, which eventually prevent the bank from being eroded. So this kind of a structure, if you see near our college, then this kind of structures are very popular on the bank of Brahmaputra. So these structures are called as porcupines. The main reason of this of putting this structure is that to prevent the bank from erosion, to reduce the velocity. And the advantage of this structure is that they are constructed in such a way they are very balanced in nature. Even if the water overturn it, it again immediately get a balance and will not be carried away by the water. So this is the advantage of this structure, and these structures are called as porcupine structure. Here you see here in a huge area they have provided this kind of a porcupine structure. Here you see generally in the Brahmaputra, you'll see this kind of a structure. So now, apart from this structure, there is another way whereby we can protect the bank called as geoback and geotube. So initially what we used to do, we used to place some boulders along the bank. So this, if you place boulders along the bank to prevent it from being eroded, this process is called as revetment. Okay, this process of putting stones like this is called as a revetment process. But it may happens that these boulders may not be available in many places, right? If it's available is well and good, but it may happen that these boulders are not available in many places to place on the bank of the river to prevent it from being eroded. So in that case, there is another option called as geoback and geotube. Since these geobacks are like this also a very common practice on the bank of the river, Brahmaputra river. You will see this thing that in Assam this is very popular, whereby we place this kind of a bag to prevent the erosion problem. So these bags are nothing but they are a high strength geotextile bag, and they are available in different size ranging from 2 meter to 3 meter big. Okay, they are high strength so that to provide durability. So generally the sand that is available here, the sand that is available near the river. So that sand we take it and then we fill it in this bag, in this geo bag. So we take the sand from the river, nearby river, we fill it in this geo bag and tie it in such a way that that sand will not come out. So now instead of these boulders, this geo bag will act the same way. It will protect the bank. Also, apart from that, it will also provide seepage to the water. The water still can go because it made of a sand, right? The water can seep through here, but it will not be able to erode the bank. But the problem here also, we should be careful that the toe of the bank is not eroded. If the toe of the bank, if the toe here is eroded, then this geobag will just act as an additional weight which will lead to the failure of the bank. So we should be also careful on how to protect the toe of the bank. We should see that the toe of the bank is not being affected. If it's being affected, if the toe is being eroded, then putting geobag will just add another pressure which will lead to the erosions of the bank. So apart from this geobag, we also have some kind of a structure called as geotube. So this geotube here, sometimes what happened, the banks may fail, right? So in that case, we need an immediate measures to prevent the water from going away. So in that case, there are some geotube whereby this is a long tube whereby we fill this tube with sediments and slurry, and this tube will act as a embankment. So this kind of a geotube can also be used for protection of the toe of the bank, whereby we place a small geotube along the uh, bank of the river, which will protect the toe of the bank, and then we can place a geobag here. So this is about the geobag and geotube. This geobag also is very common in Assam, especially in the along the bank of Brahmaputra. You'll see this kind of structures are being placed in order to prevent the bank erosion. So I will again now walk you through one of the practical application that is being carried out by IT Guwahati. Um, this experiment was being taken out by my professor, Professor Arup Kumar Sarma. So see here, you see that this bank, this is the natural fail bank. Here, this bank fails because of the direct current. You see here, there are some bamboos. So even though bamboos are present here, bamboos, okay, like I have said, these bamboos actually they don't have that long roots, so they cannot protect the bank. Instead, they add more weight to the bank and lead to the failure of the bank. So what you have to do in this case, first of all, you have to dress this area. Then directly you cannot provide measures here. You have to dress this area with a sufficient angle of repose. This angle of repose, I think you have studied in geotech. So I'm not going to talk about angle of repose. You should have known it by now because you are in the 8th semester. So here, in this kind of a problem, what we do first, we need to dress this area with proper angle of repose. So when we dress this area in this way, then what we do, we provide some kind of a geonet or geobag here, or geonet or geosynthetic bag here, okay? And then we start planting some vegetation here. At this area, what we do, we provide some kind of a geobag, and sometimes we can even provide some bamboo pools so as to tie this geobag so that it will not be carried away. So here we provide some kind of geobag with bamboo, and here we provide some kind of a coir net, and then in this coir net we plant vegetation. So with time, you'll see, with time this vegetation will grow here, and then vegetation will grow here, and then that mat may be even deteriorate with time, but by the time it deteriorate, the vegetation already starts growing, and it will act as a protective measures against this bank. So is it clear to everyone? Any doubt? So always you have to see the local condition. You cannot always assume that this will be the solution. The main thing is that you have to see the local condition, the locally available materials, and accordingly you have to take measures to prevent erosion. For example, in this case, what we do, first of all, we dress the soil. You cannot directly place here the vegetation and all. You have to dress the soil properly. Once you dress the soil with proper angle of repose, then you place here a coordinate and vegetations along with it, locally available vegetation. Again, you place here a geobag with some bamboo to tie it. Again, this thing, so once you place vegetation here, these vegetations need to be maintained. So you must also see that the vegetations that you grow here may be of some benefits. Suppose vegetation may be it provides some kind of a medicinal benefits. In that way, the people will protect it, right? If it does not provide benefits, with time people will not care and all, and again you will come to a old problem. So you should also think of a plan that you plan here, which apart from being protecting the soil, it also should provide some kind of a additional benefits. Then only people will start doing this kind of a work. So any doubt? Any question? Okay. Okay, so in the next class again we'll continue with different measures. So up for today's class I will stop here. uh, Two more class I will take on these topics and then we'll move to the next topic. So for today's class, let me recall whatever we have discussed. So we start off with a different type of erosion problem. Then we discuss about the green measures. We start by talking about the geomat. Then we talk about the geosynthetic mat. The difference between these two is the duration, the time of support that is required. Then we talk about this articulated concrete block. Then we talk about the palisades, right? Then we discuss about porcupines, geobags, geotube, porcupines, and then we also, okay, these are the things that we discussed today. In the next class, we will start discussing about other measures such as uh, groins and then spurs and all. Okay, so in today's class, I will stop up to here. So we'll continue in the next class. Thank you, everyone. You can leave the class. So attendance, don't worry about attendance. Roll number 1 to 5, don't worry about attendance. Okay. Okay, I'll end the meeting here.